On this episode of the Bronze Metalist podcast, we talk about From the Gallery of Sleep by Night Verses. Welcome to another episode of the Bronze Metalist podcast. I'm Kayle.
I'm OJ.
We're two professional broadcasters. We like metal and we like to talk about it. And today we're talking about band.
Talking about band.
The genre is band.
Mm-hmm. They are band.
They're called Night Verses. And the album From the Gallery of Sleep is their most recent album. Came out in 2019.
There's a wide range of stuff on this.
2018, I guess, is when it came out. Sorry. Yeah, but yeah, you're correct. There's a lot of different stuff on this album.
But there's voices?
It's all samples.
Right, it's all sampled voices.
Most of which seem to come from like 1960s videos about science.
Yes.
1960s like science communication videos and whatnot.
I told you I was the devil.
Yeah, or like old movies and stuff. It's the vast majority of them seem to be from vintage cinema for whatever reason. We'll talk more about Night Verses later on, but if you're a new listener, we usually just talk about random bullshit before we get to that, because that's what we do. We like to chat. We like to chit chat.
Do we have new listeners?
Probably not.
I guess it's a distinct possibility. I mean,
yeah. Everyone else kind of knows, they're just going to talk about random bullshit. Time to put this on in the background while I'm vacuuming or doing the dishes or what have you.
Podcasts are one of my favorite things for doing the dishes.
It's a valuable service we provide, giving people background noise so they feel like they're not alone in the world.
And you are not alone.
Are they?
You're just going to die that way.
We all die alone. That sounds like it could be a sample on the record.
Yeah, it does.
We all die alone, Barbara. Something like that.
That would be from... Yeah, no.
It's a weird take of Night of the Living Dead.
Right, yeah. They're coming to get you, Barbara. But
we all die alone, Barbara. It's just a much more depressing Night of the Living Dead, where there's like one zombie and he's an extreme nihilist. He doesn't kill you and eat your brains. He makes you want to kill yourself.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
I'm going to eat my own brain.
This world has made me want to eat my own brain. I've had a frustrating day. I went to go do laundry, and there is a singular working dryer in my building out of 3. Right. All of the dryers are broken. The washing machine on this level is also broken. And one of the other washing machines was in use, so I went down to the bottom level and washed my clothes there. And then the only working dryer, which is on this floor, was occupied. So I took my laundry up the block to the laundromat, which, since it is November in North Dakota, means I got in my car, because I'm not dragging 15 pounds of wet laundry a block and a half up the street
in 20 degrees
in 20 degree weather when there's fucking snow and sand and dirt all over the place.
Right.
I'm not doing that. So I went to the laundromat, and hey, it was only $1, took a half an hour, got my clothes nice and dry, which is more than I can fucking say for any of the dryers in this building have ever done for me. But
so to be more explicit here, there are 24 apartments in this building.
Yes.
Yeah, with one working dryer.
One working dryer. The washing machine on this floor has been broken for 3 weeks. Management is aware, and supposedly they have contacted people to fix them. But I guess nobody in this town fixes washers and dryers in a timely fashion. Or the property company has so many broken washers and dryers throughout its various properties that the people they contact to do so are very busy.
This property management company doesn't manage a washer or a dryer built after 1960.
I think, well, the washing machine here on this floor seems relatively new.
Really?
I mean, it is still broken,
right?
But it seems relatively new. So it kind of depends. The other washing machines are more vintage because this one has dials on it.
Right.
That's a sign of modernity.
Oh,
is it has dials on it that are like newer looking, sort of dials.
Sure.
The older ones have buttons. They're push buttons, like the dryer on this floor has push buttons, and here's the option. You press this chunky black button, and that's what you push. That's what the dryers are like, or the washers are like on the other floors. The washer on this floor that's broken is newer.
But it's broken.
Yeah, but it's broken, so it doesn't mean anything.
See, that's one good thing about I live in a building with 4 apartments with one working wire, one working washer and one working dryer. And they're always working because the people who own the building that I live in
live there.
No, but their somewhat annoying sister does.
I see.
I like her.
But I mean, hey, that's a good thing though.
That's a great thing. And their daughter lives across the hall from me.
So yeah. So that means that shit gets fixed.
Exactly. And it also probably means that I'm going to be replaced by a family member.
At some point.
At some point.
They're going to kick you out.
Yeah.
They're going to find a reason to get rid of you.
Which that should not be hard. Yeah, we need to kick you out. Your neighbors are frightened of you.
You are a stranger.
Yeah, you're an odd man.
You are a stranger in a strange land. Mm-hmm. No, I've lived here quite a while. Yes, but you are a stranger. And therefore, this land has become strange.
I'll give you that.
See, I'm just spouting sound bites that could go on this album.
You are. That's yeah.
Just samples.
You've become Night Verses.
Yes, I am now Night Verses. Mm-hmm. Let's see.
By the way, I wasn't sure how to spell verses. I wasn't sure if it was night versus something else. Or
fighting. The night fights the day. I mean, traditionally.
And the day destroys the night.
Yes. Dayman.
I was going with the Doors there, but that's...
I mean, is that a song we have at work?
Break on through to the other side.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever paid attention to the lyrics of that song, other than the title.
Sure.
Which is, reiterated many a time.
That you get.
You
definitely get that.
It's hard to miss that one. Mm-hmm. The other ones, I'm not sure if I've paid very close attention to. I've always thought it was strange. That song was on the soundtrack for, at the very least, the Game Boy version of Tony Hawk's Underground 2, which I had.
I kind of want to play that.
It was, I played a lot of it. Most of the video games that I had when I was a young man, I played a lot of and never made any progress in whatsoever.
The video games from when I was a kid, you didn't make progress.
Yeah.
You just kept playing until you died. In real life.
In real life. My era of video games when I was a child, there was progress to be made. I didn't make any, not because I was incapable of it, but because I seemingly didn't really understand that was the point. I just kind of preferred to aimlessly go around and not accomplish anything. I had Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
We're still talking about a game, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had Grand Theft Auto San Andreas for the PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
And it's a great game. I have never completed more than about 4 missions in that campaign.
Really?
Which is probably for the best because I convinced my parents to get it for me when I was 12.
Oh.
So it's probably for the best that I didn't play through the actual campaign.
Because your parents would have seen you, or
because there was probably some stuff that I maybe didn't need to see when I was 12. But I didn't see any of it because I just spent all of my time in that game fucking around with cheat codes and going around the open world and just, doing random shit and blowing stuff up with an infinite ammo rocket launcher and never accomplishing anything beyond the first couple of missions. Like, I think I got to the infamous train mission where you got to throw boxes off of the train or you got to follow the train with the car, and there's a big smoke is on the back of the train and he's throwing boxes at you.
It's big
and
smoke.
And you fail and you're like, all you had to do was follow the train, CJ.
Yeah.
I think I got to that mission and never completed it. It's like there are some things that I'm definitely aware of. Like I remember what the opening was like with Sam Jackson. I remember the infamous scene where Big Smoke comes, where you're with him at the fast food station.
Yeah.
He's like, I have a number 9, a number 9 large. 3 fries. Like,
did you ever make fat CJ? Did you do that?
Yeah. I'd make fat CJ. I'd make extremely jacked CJ.
Sure.
You could do both at the same time.
You could, yeah, and then you could do that right across the street from one another. There's a gym, and then right across what was the name of the fast food place?
There's a bunch of them. The burger one, Burger Shot.
Burger Shot,
was
yes.
the burger one. Then there's Cluck and Bell.
Yes, but that's the chicken
That's
restaurant.
the chicken place. I think there was a Mexican restaurant too. I don't remember what that one was called. For a game that came out in 2004, it is like ridiculously detailed. The fact that you can go inside these restaurants to order food, like it was far, far more detailed than in open world game in 2004 ever needed to be. Like, it's interesting that, like, when the fuck did Shenmue come out? It's like the first sort of, like, not the first open world game, but like one of the first like 3D games where you could just roam around a map and the missions were placed in the map. I feel like that was like 1998 is when the first one came out. 1999 is when it came out, because it had like a day-night cycle and all that sort of stuff. Like, it was one of the first games that really had that in a 3D setting. It was also a Dreamcast game, so I've never played it. Right. By the time I was like, consciously getting into video games, Sega was dead. Sega was long dead by that point.
One of these times, I'm gonna have to find a Dreamcast, and we're gonna have to go head to head at Choo Choo Rocket.
Choo Choo Rocket?
Yeah.
What the fuck is that?
It's kind of a puzzle game involving cats and mice. And it is.
You would never know that by the title.
It starts. Like after this, I'll have to play you the commercial, and you will curse me to my grave for me having played you this commercial.
Is it like got some really annoying earworm thing in it?
Yeah, it's all one annoying earworm.
Oh Jesus!
But yeah, it's that's an.
I got to see it now.
Fun, yeah. Yeah,
that's an info hazard right there.
Yeah.
Once you know about it, you must find out. It's like the fucking Ring video or some shit.
Yeah. Or the Streisand effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's really the Streisand effect. Well, I mean, that's when one person consciously wants to avoid scrutiny.
Yeah, but now everybody knows about it
themselves.
Yeah, because in trying to avoid that certainty, they've informed everyone that they don't want to be seen.
Yes. Don't look at me.
And everyone
looks at you.
Yeah.
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 I'm trying to think of. I started listening. There's a YouTube channel I've liked for quite a while called Funhouse. And they have a role-playing game series where they play, various different RPG or like tabletop RPGs. And but it's, always with a very distinct sort of comedy angle to it. And the first season of their most recent show that they did is the show itself is called Must Be Dice. And they're playing a game that I actually have, but I've never played, which is called Monster of the Week. I've never played Monster of the Week, but I bought the book because the Adventure Zone played it as well. And so it's like, I have the book for it, but, It's very much meant to be sort of like an X-Files, Buffy the Vampire Slayer type. I mean, that's in the name.
Monster of the Week.
That's what that type of show is. They were doing sort of like a Stranger Things or Stranger Things is what the show is called.
Yeah. Or Stranger Things.
Well, I was it's called Stranger Kids? No, that's not what it's called.
Do you watch the Stranger Kids on the
Stranger Kids
on the Flat Mix?
I haven't watched the show, so it's
I won't spoil it for you.
Yeah, I'm not going to watch it. It's basically a point of principle.
At this point,
it's like, yeah, I just don't feel like watching it. Because also, as the seasons have continued to come out, everybody like season after season goes like, that wasn't that was worse than the last season. Oh, that was worse than the last season. I'm like, well, now you're killing my desire to watch this show that I didn't have much of at all in the first place.
In reality, in my opinion, I didn't like season 2. But I've liked the rest of them.
Okay.
I've enjoyed it.
But anyway, in that show, there's a really great bit where this is just me talking about a thing I saw and describing the thing I saw, which is not great audio content, I realize.
Sure.
But
why don't you actually draw me a physical picture?
Yeah, I'll draw you a picture.
Here's a pencil.
Anyway, maybe this bit could be concluded by saying, go watch it. It's on YouTube. You can also listen to it. It's a funny show to watch. Some very funny people playing a game. I don't know. I was going to relay the thing, but there was no way in hell that it was going to be my relation of it was going to be funny
or
interesting.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I haven't done fucking anything lately.
Yeah, me either. I mean, last night I ate at a Chinese restaurant with 4 generations of my family.
4 generations?
Yeah.
How was that?
It was interesting. It was. I mean,
nothing got thrown.
Nothing got thrown.
That's good.
There was a lot of crying, but that was because there was a baby at the table.
All right.
Every time the baby's mother, my daughter, would go fill her plate, no matter how many beans or Jell-O, no matter what we did, we could not distract the child from screaming because her mom was gone.
Yeah.
So
that happens sometimes.
My parents, and then me and my daughter and her unborn child as well.
Yes. They tend to come with. It's hard
the feti.
Yeah, it's hard to leave them at home. Or get the babysitter for them when they haven't come out yet.
Okay.
That baby hasn't been released yet.
Right, yeah.
Is what I'm saying. The baby's unreleased.
I mean, and what would you do if you got a sitter for your fetus? I mean, how would you implant that in another woman's womb?
That's the future. That's an episode of Black Mirror is what that is. Like that's just I guess in theory, just thinking it out, you could technically leave your fetus at home if they is contained within a surrogate.
Sure.
That's still your child. It's just inside another person. And you could leave that person at home. In theory, that could work.
And since my child has 2 babies, there was another person inside my child.
Yeah.
On several occasions, turns out.
Oh, that's what you meant. The thing that I was thinking of at first was like a Black Mirror type thing where it's like you have a tank that your unborn child is inside of, and it grows inside the tank.
Sure. With treads and a turret.
I mean, hey, you want to protect everyone wants to protect their children. What better way than reactive armor and a 120 millimeter smoothbore cannon?
Did you see, by the way, what the National Park System is starting to do?
No.
They're starting to have available for rent off-road wheelchairs.
Sweet.
Yeah.
What do those look like?
Oh, well, I mean, they have treads like it basically looks like a Bobcat without the cab.
Interesting.
Without the cab.
I'm just wondering how much of a bitch and a half those are going to be to maintain.
No, they're 500 pounds a piece.
Like, because
Yeah.
I've read so many different things about people in the military complaining about like tank maintenance because they fucking hate vehicles with treads. But I'm imagining these are like rubber treads.
Yeah,
is what
like
they
it's
are
a Bobcat. Yeah.
Yeah, because those I think are a bit less of a pain in the ass than when military tanks throw
Those are
tracks
metal
and shit.
treads. Yeah.
So it's probably a little bit easier. I don't know.
Yeah, but it was cool to show these people who, obviously they're disabled.
Yeah.
And they're enjoying nature. Just out in the middle. Yeah.
An off-road
Right.
wheelchair that kicks so much ass.
Indeed.
That's awesome. I did think of something that I have done, which was on Sunday. We did the group that I used to play Dungeons and Dragons with quite a lot. Got back together for a one shot where we made level 20 characters and fought the Tarrasque, which is traditionally this biggest, scariest, toughest monster in the whole game. And we killed 3 of them. We killed 3 of them. We ate the first one for breakfast. We knocked it over and took its lunch money.
Called it a little bitch.
Yeah, like 5th edition's Tarrasque is quite underwhelming to fight as a level 20 character. So just one after the other, we just kept on fighting until the third one that we actually fought, because there was another one that showed up that we just teleported to another dimension because it couldn't do anything about that.
Right.
But the third one that we actually fought knocked out 2 of the other players, swallowed the cleric, and so my barbarian was the only one who was still up and got, for the first time in the fight, knocked below 100 hit points. Started with 325. But got knocked below 100 hit points and then subsequently killed the fuck out of the thing, and that's when we ended the night. But yeah, they like the Tarrasques used to be, or the Tarrasque, because there's only one, used to be way, way, way scarier because you couldn't actually kill it. In order to solve the problem, you had to, I believe I was reading a description, bring it down to a certain amount of negative HP and then cast Wish on it. You couldn't just cast Wish on it and solve the problem without having to fight it. You had to fight it and then cast Wish on it, because it was also able to regenerate from the tiniest little bit of its body, and it slumbered at the core of the planet. And like, yeah, there used to be a much, much more formidable enemy. And in 5th edition, it's just kind of a big lizard. It's just kind of a big lizard. And it was a fun fight. And I was, my barbarian was basically a professional wrestler. And so I was doing a Macho Man impression the whole night. Yeah. And that was a lot of fun. But yeah, it was a little boring. It ended up being ever so slightly boring, because it was like, well, like, I'm going to be all right because I have an insane amount of HP and I'm just going to keep on hitting the big monster because I'm playing a barbarian and that's what I do.
It's always kind of boggled my mind that there would be a 20th level barbarian, because I would think the more experience and wisdom you gain throughout, your time, I would think you would at some point leave behind the idea of barbarism.
Oh, well, it's about what's in your heart, not about what's in your brain. It's about what's in your heart. It's not about the size of your brain. It's about the size of your heart and the size of your muscles. That is important.
To be a barbarian.
You do need the big muscles.
I think it would be hilarious to be a very short, skinny barbarian.
It's just harnessing nerd rage.
Yeah, absolutely.
The whole time it's just channeling every time your computer doesn't work.
Yeah.
And that's how you fuel your frenzy. is just channeling all the rage at your various, technology.
Well, that's the littlest wildfire I've ever seen.
You're bringing yourself back to that moment when your mom threw out all your CDs.
She threw away your stack of Bazooms magazine.
So fucking angry. Gonna kill this dragon. Mom!
Did he just call that dragon Mom?
I don't think he needs to be an adventurer. I think he needs therapy, which honestly is a quote that could be attributable to any Dungeons and Dragons game or party is these people don't need to go out and fight monsters and claim treasure. They need therapy is what they need.
And I think that's kind of meta, really, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Wait, are you talking about their characters?
Maybe. But because, it's like, there's a great Marisha Ray quote that I read. She's one of the cast members on Critical Role, and someone posed a question of like, why are so many adventurers people with horrifically tragic backstories, like their parents died or were murdered or something like that? Right. And she posted a thing as like, normal, mentally healthy people do not go into caves and fight monsters for fun. Well-adjusted people get a normal job.
Right.
And like those exist in D&D worlds. There are people still need to grow food and sell things like
these are tailors.
Like it doesn't matter how it doesn't matter how fantastical your fictional world has you have come up with is. Right. Someone still needs to clean the shitter. Like, I remember that being like a quote in like BioShock, which is, a game about a city that's built at the bottom of the ocean by a guy who read way too much Ayn Rand. Like there's a quote from one of his foremans or whatever who was in charge of building the city is just like, even in a utopia, someone's got to clean the toilets, because the whole idea was that it was all going to be the movers and shakers of the world and the big capitalists and the big idea people. It's like, all right, but who's going to actually run the place?
Right.
Who's going to do all the actual work while all these entrepreneurs are exploring their big ideas?
Have you ever read The Fountainhead?
I have not.
You haven't?
Have not.
It's amazing because there's different characters and different sides and different opinions, and the people who are clearly the villains of the story are framed as being the good people. The protagonists.
Yeah. It's like these people are clearly assholes.
These are the worst people in the world.
But they're also the people the writer likes.
Yeah.
Which says more about the writer than the people in the story. But tellingly enough, in BioShock, the city collapses and the vast majority of the people in it die horrifically.
Sure. Bottom of the ocean.
Yeah. Although it's actually not the ocean that does most of it. It's the people tear each other apart.
Oh, cool.
And has, that has already happened by the time your character arrives. BioShock's a great game, by the way. Came out in 2006, has aged very, very well. Everything.
Is okay. So
it's available
for the
everything.
4 or
probably. It's a very popular game.
Speaking of video games, it's sort of a moment of melancholy this afternoon because I picked up my youngest child and brought him back to the radio station. We hung out while I finished doing my work and then I dropped him at home and he says, "We got a date, Dad. We're gonna play Fortnite together." I'm like, okay, I'm down with that. Yeah. Cool. I love spending time with my boy. And then I went home and we're playing Fortnite. And I think at one point I was audibly extremely frustrated with just all the other players in the game because they're dicks.
Just the existence of the game itself.
And my son, and I could hear it in his, because I know him very well. Yeah. I could hear it in his voice, him going, "Oh, that's why I don't play Fortnite with Dad.
He doesn't like it.
He doesn't like it. And now it's my fault that he's upset because I made him play this game."
Oh, that sucks.
That's his mentality. He's like, I'm responsible for this.
Oh, no.
And then he got sad.
No good.
Quiet. I'm like, "Do you want to play something else?" Just,
oh God.
"I love you, buddy. I'm gonna go to Kayle's house." Okay, love you too, Dad.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
And it didn't help that for some reason there's this one housefly in my apartment that won't leave me the fuck alone.
It's like that Breaking Bad episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
You remember that episode?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
The one that's like half the people who watch it seem to hate and everybody else thinks it's great.
Yeah.
I'm one of the people that thinks it's great.
Yeah.
I thought it was a great episode.
But I was actually at one point, I was so angry about the fly, which also sort of bothered my boy there. And I said, I have to pause because I have to go inform everyone else who lives in this building that I'm going to burn it to the fucking ground.
So I can kill this fly. That's been me with the fruit flies.
Sure.
Finally, one of the traps that I put out is actually collecting fruit flies.
Nice.
I just dumped a shitload of sugar into a jar full of water, and then also put a little bit of grenadine in there. I don't know why. And some dish soap too.
Sure, you got to put dish soap in there.
And at first I was covering it with saran wrap and poking some holes in it. That for whatever reason seemed to completely deter any of the flies from getting within it. So
just leave the open jar.
Just left it open.
They'll get stuck and die.
And put it on a surface that the cat does not frequent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was told, by the way, I went to a hardware store one time and I bought some because I had the fruit fly issue as well.
Yeah.
And he said, you can use the spray, or what you could do is just buy some bleach and put it in a towel and cover the drain in your sink if that's where because that's where they were breeding. Because I like to use a lot of mouthwash and different stuff to keep my mouth clean.
Yes.
And so they for some reason love to breed in that
Even though it's like alcohol and stuff in there.
I think it becomes like a sugar. After
I suppose, yeah. I mean, that's where alcohol comes from.
Exactly. That's why I'm so sweet. But
hey,
no. But anyway, don't do that. Don't do that with a towel that you care about, because if you soak a towel in bleach and leave it in the sink, you're going to pick up that towel the next day, and it's going to be
brick,
not a lot of towel.
Oh,
that bleach will eat the towel.
The towel.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah, I don't know where these ones are coming out from. I think they might be coming through the vent somewhere, the bathroom sink. I don't know. I don't know where they're coming from. I had big problem with fruit flies when I first moved into this building.
Right.
And then it's been fine since then. But now this fall, they've been fucking everywhere.
Right. I mean, they're especially around that big pile of rotten fruit you have out there in the kitchen.
Yeah, it might be all the rotten fruit in the kitchen. I don't know. I don't have a big pile of rotten.
No, he doesn't.
I did have some overripe bananas that actually, like, they're probably not that far beyond being edible, but to a reasonable person. But to me, when I see like more than about 25% of a banana surface covered with brown, that's like, nah, I'm not eating that shit.
Really? Have you ever peeled one of those and to find just a perfectly okay banana inside?
I don't particularly like them, even if the banana is perfectly okay, by the time they're that ripe, I don't know why I don't like the way they taste anymore.
Do you like unripened bananas? You have them like to have that vegetable-y flavor?
Yeah, a bit more. I enjoy when they're still a little green. I like them a bit more.
That's good. I hope nobody don't take that out of context, please. When they're green, I like them a little more.
What does that even mean, though? What would that mean out of context?
You like young people.
Oh. I feel like that'd be kind of a stretch for people to interpret it that way.
I suppose.
Maybe they think I'm talking about ladies on Star Trek.
Yeah, true.
I like the green ladies. Maybe that's what they think. I don't know.
What if there's porn for that?
Oh, there is.
Green lady porn.
Need I remind you the rules of the internet?
Right. Is it 34? Is that what it is?
Yes, it's rule 34.
Yeah.
If something exists, someone has made pornography about it. And that is true for everything. And if it isn't true about something, it soon will be. Which
makes Googling sometimes a minefield. I mean, sometimes I want to see what this is, and then there's going to be that one entry that could get you fired if they knew it showed up in your Google search.
Frankly, I think like porn featuring Orions from Star Trek is probably one of the first things that was put on the internet, considering that the people who made the internet were nerds that liked Star Trek, almost certainly.
Those are Orions?
Yeah, they're called Orions. Is what the green people are called.
To tell my teenager that.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, let's talk about Night Versus.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so Night Versus is theoretically you could call them a post-rock band.
Sure.
Most of the genres that you could kind of describe them as are contained within the umbrella of rock. But there's, especially on this album, quite a lot more going on.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different stuff going on. As of the recording of this album, and since then they have been, I believe, a 3-piece instrumental act. They used to have a vocalist up until this most recent album. They had a vocalist. I haven't really listened to albums previous to this one for very long. I would kind of describe like what I listened to a little bit, and it seems like it's kind of like the albums from We Lost the Sea before Departure Songs.
Sure.
When they had a vocalist as well, where it's kind of like a very progressive post-hardcore type sound. Whereas like the instrumentation is still pretty similar to what we have here, where it's heavily affected guitars,
yes,
just
in different ways.
Insane. I would love to see what their pedal boards look like. But with the addition of, to my understanding, mostly screamed vocals and whatnot. I would describe their sound as being a bit like a band like Caspian or We Lost the Sea had a baby with Fallujah. Okay. And then that baby took a bunch of drugs.
That baby got into pills.
That baby got into pills.
Yeah.
I got into Quaaludes. And then occasionally smoked some meth in between.
That's a weird combination, by the way.
Yeah.
If you do those at the same time.
Meth and Quaaludes. You might be perfectly normal.
Yeah, it's like they cancel each
other out.
Sure.
So that you just have a perfectly normal day.
Quick, I took a bunch of Reds. Let's smoke something off a tinfoil.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just a bizarre, well, it's not that bizarre, but a very interesting combination of progressive metal and post-rock and post-metal and bits and there's a lot going on.
There's some genty feeling stuff in there.
Yeah, some sort of genty stuff. There's a couple of songs that reminded me of like if you removed all the vocals from a Silent Planet song.
Okay.
Is kind of metalcore-y, mathcore-y sort of element to it. Hi, I'm Mathcore.
Hi, I'm Mathcore.
And I'm metalcore. But or like I mean, it's slightly less schizophrenic than something like Dillinger Escape Plan or slightly less pants shittingly terrifying than Code Orange. But
I need to go back and listen to Code Orange.
God, yeah, that's like that album is just I've never gotten used to it. It's hard listening in the best way possible, but it's like I gotta take a shower after listening to this. Jesus,
difficult listening. I need to call my mom now. Yeah,
but then occasionally it'll be like, oh, that was actually pretty nice, and then nope, back to Jesus Christ, what the fuck.
Right.
This album is a bit less intense most of the time than something like that.
Right.
But,
there's a lot of serene moments in here.
Oh, yeah. A lot of very serene moments that is sort of sandwiched between progressive insanity is what maybe you could call it. The goal for this album, according to one of the band members, is quote, with this new record, it was a goal of ours to fill up as much sound as possible between three people while still actually pulling it all off live. Not just technically speaking, but atmospherically as well. We wanted the songs to be reminiscent of dream sequences. And I think they definitely completed that goal of like, because if you listen to it, between the guitar, the bass, and the drums, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of stuff that is like, double tracked, at least in the sense of like, okay, here's the rhythm and here's the lead. Like Cattle Decapitation has two guitarists now, but for like a number of albums, they only had one guitarist, but they would still record rhythms and leads for their guitars, which is like, okay, you're probably going to have a backing track when you play live anyway, but still it's like, there is a certain part of me that's like, why not just write it so you can do all of it yourself live? Right. And there's a part of my brain that is a little bothered when a band with like one guitarist writes a record for for two guitarists when they only have the one and aren't going to have a touring guitarist. They aren't going to have like a guy who comes in just to play rhythm on tour. Some bands do, and that's fine. But
I think it would be fun is if you did like the whole Tom Scholz thing. And because there's a whole lot of other artists who've done this, but just record all the music for your album, and then don't have a touring band. You just have a boombox.
There you go. Yeah. There you go.
Here's me playing all the music.
You just stand by it.
You get a chair.
Oh, okay. You sit. You can sit.
Yeah.
Be comfortable. It's your show.
Yeah, it's my show.
It's my show. I'll sit if I want to. It'd be great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like if you listen to it, to my ear anyway, it doesn't sound like there's any, really like double track guitar parts or anything like that. And also like the bass is so beautifully. The bass really comes through.
Yeah.
And the two guitars really accentuate each other while the drums are just doing fucking insanity.
Yeah.
This is like, as far as like progressive music that I have come across recently, this is one of my favorite things that I've found. Other than like when kind of reconnected with Fallujah recently. But this is like, I desperately want more music that is exactly like this. Because I haven't found there's not a lot of bands that are like progressive like this, but also instrumental that also don't sound so deeply computerized.
Okay.
Like there are a lot of like technical death metal bands and stuff like that, or bands that are like kind of progressive that just sound deeply they sound way too clean. And it's I think you could level that sort of criticism at this album, but it's hard to because there are so many effects on the guitars that it creates its own sort of humanity to it, I guess.
Right.
I'm a little in the weeds here, but it's like when something sounds too clean, but they're trying to emulate a sound that wouldn't be, where it's like, oh,
sounds
it's
wrong.
Yeah, it's like it's clear that you used a digital version of this, this amplifier that wouldn't sound digital or computerized. You're just going for like a, this sort of distorted tone, but used a digital version of it, and it doesn't sound quite right. Like if someone's doing like a purely digital version of like a
tube amplifier
or like a HM2.
Yeah.
Because the HM2 already sounds like shit. That's the point.
Yeah. It's supposed to sound like.
But when you computerize it, it really doesn't sound good. There's a Bloodbath album that I fucking hate because the guitars sound terrible. They managed to make the HM2 sound genuinely bad and not in the way that it's supposed to. And maybe it's in a way that some people enjoy. I really don't like it. It's one of the albums with Michael Ackerfeld on it. And I don't care for it at all. Despite the fact that like it's Michael Ackerfeld doing just straight up death metal vocals, and that's pretty cool. But Opeth is one of the influences on this band. I'm looking at it right here. Wikipedia says so.
Right.
So that's a segue back into talking about the band.
And you can hear that in there. You can hear them. A
little bit.
You can hear that they're we're fans of Opeth. I mean, they're not making music like Opeth, but you can tell that it's been their minds have been flavored with it. The
list includes Tool, of course. ISIS, not the they're a post-metal band that for whatever reason isn't really touring anymore and doesn't like
right exactly. They've
a band called Fiona Apple.
They've changed their name to Al Qaeda, I think.
It's because it's the optics on that are better.
Fiona Apple, they're influenced by Fiona Apple.
That's what they say.
And she has a new album out, which is really good, actually. Weirdly,
I have no idea who she is.
Really,
I've never heard of her before. I saw that name come up.
I had a huge crush on Fiona Apple.
Really? Okay. A band called At the Drive-In. Opeth, Björk.
Björk.
Deftones.
Okay.
DJ Shadow.
Okay.
Nirvana.
Who?
Rage Against the Machine. And a number of other different bands have been cited by them as influences on their sound. But this is just a really interesting record, I think. I don't know if they've got anything currently in the oven, cooking, ready to go, because this album came out in 2018, and we've gone through all of COVID since then. So I wonder if they've, they had time to tour for this album. And I don't know if I would hope that they worked on something throughout, lockdown periods.
You don't know if they have
ready to go,
a baby album in their womb.
Perhaps. Yeah. They got a bun in the oven, and that bun is going to sound real fucking crazy. I hope they've got something else coming up, because like I said, I desperately want more music that sounds like this. And I need to find more music from like other bands that sounds like this as well. Just because this scratches a very deep itch that hasn't really been scratched in a long time. And I really, really quite enjoy this as well. And it's just something that just like popped up on my Spotify feed. It's like the first time Spotify in a long time anyway, that Spotify has recommended me something, and it was right there on the side. It was like, what's this? And I click on it and listen to it and go, oh shit, this is exactly my sort of thing. It's I've been in kind of like a musical rut lately. As far as like wanting something new to listen to. I've just been listening to the last 3 songs of that Lorna Shore album on repeat for like a month now.
The last 3, part 1, part 2, and part 3.
Like I've just been listening to those on repeat for a long time, and it's like I need something new. Ooh, this is neat. Ooh. Get that soundbite. Have that be your text ringtone. Just, let me isolate it. Ooh. It's perfect.
Oh, got a message from Kayle.
That wouldn't be annoying. Not that I text you constantly.
No,
but it'd be like I wouldn't text you for like weeks, and then you'd hear that and go, "What the fuck?" Oh, yeah, I did that.
I forgot. Sort of like when I changed my my ringtone to be from Manowar from the beginning of Kings of Metal, and then I forgot that I did it, and suddenly, what the fuck is going on with my phone? Yeah.
Does this album slap?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, this album slaps.
It does.
Sure. For sure. I did not find the score for this because I didn't go looking because I was busy with trying to eat quickly before you arrived after my laundry fiasco. What's your favorite song on the album?
Well, it was hard. I had to actually go back and look at song titles because
they all just kind of bleed into each other.
They do, especially with no vocals and no no obviously lyrics or anything like that. But I think the one that really snatched my attention was No Moon, I think is the first one.
No Moon, okay.
Yeah, that's it's the 6th track on the album there. Copper Wasp was also really good.
Yeah, Copper Wasp is great. The first track there. I wrote down Phoenix 4, Levitation.
Oh, okay, cool.
That one has a really, it's very dynamic. That's a favorite word.
Yeah.
But also it has a thing that really makes it stand out, which is I don't know what sort of equipment or pedal or whatever it is that was attached to the guitar that made it sound that way. But it sounded like there was a video that Rob Scallon made with this guitar that he found or something like that, or he had it built. I don't know. But they attached basically a big spring to the whammy bar. And it you'd hit the spring and it would sound fucking crazy. And there's a thing that sounds like that on that song.
Let's go listen to that again.
You'll know it when you hear it. But then the end of that track has some like acoustic guitars on it and stuff, which is it's one of the longer tracks on there. I think it's 9 minutes and 42 seconds.
And there's 13. Is it 13 songs on this?
Something like that. There's 13 songs. It's an hour and 2 minute album. A little on the long side, but I think it's worth every second. I really enjoy.
Indeed.
Really enjoy this.
Indeed.
What metal are you bestowing upon this like Maz Kanata to Chewbacca?
I don't know. I don't know what album to give it. I mean,
did I say album?
Yeah, why?
Because you said album.
Why? What did you say?
I'm trying to remember if I said album.
I think you just said
metal.
This. What metal are you giving this? I
what
think is
metal
what you said.
Did I say Maz Kanata to Chewbacca?
You did.
My brain.
Your name is Kayle. Kayle Borner.
Where am I? What year is it? 2020. What? Yeah, what medal are you bestowing upon this? Maz Kanata's Chewbacca style?
You know, I think I have to give it a gold.
Yeah, I'm giving it a gold as well. Just because I really like this. I think this is going to be one of my, there's like a number of instrumental bands that when I want to listen to instrumental music, I go back to, and I've got my Caspians, I've got my, my We Lost the Seas, I've got my This Will Destroy You's, and now Night Verses.
And it's funny.
Sliding up into that echelon.
There was a time when doing something stressful like mowing the lawn or like a difficult task or running or, a lot of the exercise they do. I thought that listening to like thrash metal or death metal or something like that was going to be the thing to do. That is the opposite. Opposite. This or Caspian or We Lost the Sea. The aforementioned bands, those are the perfect things to listen to.
Those are the ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've slid into that pantheon of sort of post-rock bands for me. Really enjoy this. So go check it out if you are so inclined.
Night Verses.
Night Verses from the Gallery of Sleep. I should go back and listen to their albums previous to this. As well, just to see what that's like. What do you want to talk about next week, buddy?
Next week, I don't know if we've talked about this before. We've been doing this so long now, going on 5 years. You realize that?
Yeah.
I don't remember if we talked about this album or not, but I think we should. It's one of the big four from the Bay Area.
Okay.
It's their debut album, Breaking the Silence. I'd like to talk about Heathen.
Breaking the Silence by Heathen. Okay. We'll talk about that next week. Until then, thank you very much, everybody, for listening to
all of you, every last one.
Every last one of you. All 12.
They're all 12?
Yes, all of you are 12 years old, which
would be
shouldn't you be playing Grand Theft Auto San Andreas and messing around with cheat codes like any 12-year-old does in the year of our Lord 2022?
Which means they were born in 2010.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
12-year-olds these days.
Yeah.
How dare they do anything?
Right.
It's a weird note.
I don't know. Yeah.
All right. But thanks for listening to this episode. If you would like to hear more from us or get updates when episodes come out, why not follow us on social media? Facebook and Twitter. We'll post episodes there when they come out. And maybe that's how you prefer to get your updates on stuff. Otherwise, just subscribe to our feed on whatever it is you're using to listen to us, whether it's your Apple Podcast app or Libsyn's the podcast source. So anyway, till you hear from us next time, thank you very much for listening to another episode of the Bronze Metalist Podcast. I'm Kayle.
I'm OJ.
Congratulations.